Burroughs, my friends. You know, he's seen as this influence on the Beat generation. I hate, this is blasphemy, but I hate Kerouac. I can't stand Allen Ginsberg. Howl is some goetic thing or something. I guess I'm going into more occult bullshit, but yeah, he's some lol. I like his accent, but horrible. I could just remember him. It's sick, but I think he's a neocon. But I did like the way William F. Buckley used to fight with the liberals. And all I can remember of the great Kerouac, which I think it's cool that he traveled around the country, whatever, but he was had problem with alcohol. I think the same thing with Burroughs. And what I don't like about a lot of literary criticism stuff is, you know, he talked about drugs and some kind of drug problem. And a lot of people have trouble with drugs, and this is a hard thing. So they need to read these writers. And I guess it's something that I have other problems and not drug and alcohol issues. So I don't understand. So he's not for me in that case. His cut-up method is brilliant. And he gave us the words heavy metal, which I prefer the magazine to the music itself. There I go, another blasphemy. Heavy metal magazine is cool, and heavy metal music is okay. In some cases, it's cool. If Led Zeppelin and Cream are heavy metal, I guess I dig it. But Whitesnake, I just like the girl in the video. Ronnie James Dio, never mind, I'm going off. He urged kids to worship Satan and not do their homework. It's very ominous, but also horrible. Anyway, back to the point, for God's sakes. William Burroughs. I'm more interested in his methods. So the cut-up method is really cool. He gets the word Blade Runner, which was huge. So Philip K. Dick, it is the Do Androids Dream Electric Sheep. It's a wonderful novel. There's just something about that word that made you remember that film. Could it have been a great film adaptation of the work of Philip K. Dick without that word? Yes, but there's just something about it. It's just something about that word, heavy metal. He had something. So I like his writing, though I don't understand Naked Lunch, and some of his poems seem like psychosis. Here's what's worse blasphemy. I'm more like what David Cronenberg, who I believe is, what the hell am I talking about? Of course, he's the director. I'm not going to bother erasing this and coming back. That's what I am. I do these short films in 23 minutes and then they end. And I know they seem like it, but I hope somebody likes them. So let's go more into Burroughs. I'm honestly more interested in him as an occultist. You've seen him pictured. So he is one of the hidden fathers of the rock and roll, which sometimes I think it's just devil worship bullshit. Sometimes I think it's awesome. Look at him pictured with Mick Jagger and Led Zeppelin. I think he was a lot more intricate in the success of Led Zeppelin than anybody believes. I don't just think Aleister Crowley was the father of the rock and roll. I think Burroughs was a high-level artist or occultist, if you want to talk. Let's have a little more snippet of music, and I'll be back with you in just moments. Thank you. Back to my bizarre documentary about a bizarre man. Certainly, I'm not going to win any points with this. It is important to people about sexual identity, racism, fascism, if you Burroughs. I believe that Burroughs was bisexual or something. These are just endless topics that were probably interesting. I mean, I'm not talking about the injustices of fascism. I'm talking about a man or woman's drug addiction, sexuality issues are fascinating, but they are, forgive me, at this moment so overplayed. So I think that's what my reaction is to Burroughs. And I have honestly tried to read his works and honestly listened to a lot of them on audio tape. I'm not a sophisticated enough writer yet to utilize his methods or even appreciate some of them. And I'm trying to do an underground documentary here, and I'm admitting that probably why I love the guy so much is his aesthetic in relation to the David Cronenberg film. The 1950s, 40s hat, the Peter Weller Robocop guy captured it perfectly. The music left an impression on me that was a huge impact on me. The color and just the idea of William Burroughs in New York City, an Andy Warhol type of character. He's got a streetwise tinge to him. He's an old Yankee prick. I love the photos of him smoking, just walking down the street, the diners. And in that sense, I like the Kerouac character. Lowell, Massachusetts, maybe going. And the guy who plays Ginsberg is cool in the movie. And the actress who plays Joan, who he shoots in real life, his life was as weird as the insect movie. The choice of the roach, and how the two men intersected and had influence. Of course, Philip K. Dick was Blade Runner, but Burroughs added. I don't know to what extent they knew each other. I think some of these writers just don't have time. I think they would like to hang out. So the whole idea of the writers hanging out in the diner in that movie, the aesthetic, the typewriter, the smoking, is something that I missed. I loved hanging around in New York and in San Fran and especially Cambridge, Mass, when you could smoke, when you could have a shisha in Algiers Cafe. My God, the Algiers Cafe was probably the greatest thing that Cambridge, Boston ever had. I don't even think Brooklyn boasted such a place. It was just like a mini Middle East, and that's what that movie brought forward there. Maybe I just don't want to confront the sexuality, but it kind of aesthetically did it. Sherilyn Fenn from Twin Peaks was the missing character in Naked Lunch. Lynch is good, but he's no William Burroughs. I mean, his stuff is really good, but Lynch, I think, knew how to make a beautiful occult soap opera. I have a friend that has connections to asking people who's in the OTO, and I've got to ask him if Burroughs and Lynch had a connection. Apparently David Bowie knew about Kabbalah, but it looks like he wasn't in the Ordo Tempo or in Tahalis. I want to be in it, I can't pronounce it. Maybe they're all in it. Burroughs is underestimated as an occultist, or maybe he isn't. And again, Led Zeppelin, are they devil worshippers? I suppose. Indeed, they could be. I think Page is the one. I was friendly with the guy that wrote Led Zeppelin and the occult, and that was mostly tied to Crowley, to Led Zeppelin. I've got to reread that to say if Burroughs has a connection. So, Crowley is the father of and Robert Johnson, I guess, the blues man of this mystique that we all can't get enough of it. Do these rock guys worship the devil or something, or not? Probably more times than not, they're not as involved. Or they're just so busy practicing, and the Beatles and the Rolling Stones and Led Zeppelin collaborate on this occultism to further their aims. Then of course I'm conspiratorial, and everything I do is sort of tied to that. But lately, or more than ever, I'm condemning it strangely. And I think that's why I like Burroughs as well, is he absolutely was some sort of major conspiracy theorist. He was very distrustful at the beginning of the Naked Lunch film. Nothing is true, everything is permitted. Do what thou wilt is the whole of the law type of thing, where there's the assassins or the hashisins or the assassins, Ali Hassan Saba. Any good writer that I like is completely consumed as I am, 100%. I have no sense that there isn't anything but paranoia, and I think a lot of people, that I consider myself smart for that, as well as Thomas Pynchon and William S. Burroughs. A lot of interesting artists are not on this train of bullshit. In fact, any author that does the tour and goes on The View and goes on these tours, I'm going to go on a limb. They only have so much depth, I think, damaged people that are very either book-wise, street-wise, or street-wise, street-wise, or a blend of both, having some psychosis, having some paranoia, then dealing with it, then fixing it, and being a writer and an artist is what it's all about. You know? 50 Shades of Grey is bullshit. That's horrible. It means nothing. It's a Starbucks affair. Dostoevsky, suffering from, he had some kind of psychotic breaks, the seizures, being in prison, being a dissident, it just makes an awesome writer. There's no way around it. So Burroughs, I see him smoking, and I don't advocate smoking, but he smoked to almost a suicidal degree, at least from the photos. There's just not men and women that are built like this anymore, What do we have, like Martin Scorsese or something like that? He's a throwback to other guys, right? The Departed is a Japanese or Chinese film. He's good. And The Irishman is good, and he's good, but not really, He not on this level, He's not a Warhol. He's just not. He's a great film director, but not in the league of his predecessors like Stanley Kubrick. Goodfellas is a great film. He knows what he's doing, but it's tremendous rock and roll music. Martin Scorsese is a great, great director, but he just doesn't strike me as a man with a philosophy. This Cronenberg guy, who they endlessly examine his sexuality, I think that's all valid. He has a lot too many creatures making love in all his films. I love Eastern Promises. I love everything he does. I get him mixed up with the great horror writer guy whose name escapes me. Damn it, the dude who did Escape from New York. Who did Escape from New York? Not anywhere in the league intellectually as Cronenberg. Well, Escape. I'm in the middle of my documentary, and I'm having to look up Escape from New York. Bear with me, have a cigarette. Wow, that's in 1981. Okay, so it's John Carpenter, of course. God, how could I forget? Carpenter and Cronenberg are incredible. You know, we don't have films like that now, right now. We don't. We don't. What was Oppenheimer, you know? Very political and apologizing for the bomb, you know? At least with Naked Lunch or whatever, or Escape from New York, these films are dystopian with tinges of reality, and I think certain people in our society, definitely myself included to the extreme, are craving some honesty with some dystopia, you know? I wish I could have edited out the fact that I forgot John Carpenter, but whatever. It's a cut-up effect. Or is both Burroughs and I too lazy to form it correctly? I don't think so. His cut-up method is occult. It's Jungian. Beyond that, you open a book, you have the answer. It's really good. It's like Andy Warhol was not just some commercial thing. It wasn't all about his sexuality. I believe he was a gay man too. It's not about that. Although maybe it's part of their nature. I don't know. That is not to say some straight shooters like Michael Crichton and, you know, Mario Puzo. Well, Mario Puzo knows something. Occultism is evident in things. The fascist occultist Jules Evola revealed to me that that soundtrack of The Godfather had some kind of guy writing it. That was an occultist. I have to forgive me. Music to the God Father. The main theme. Or something. Yeah, forgive me, that'll be for another time. But let me go back to my point. Jules Evola, it was an occultist who wrote that music. And these type of clicks are rare. There was the poverty-stricken English clique in the early 90s teamed with occultist, and they made these incredible songs, New Order, Joy Division, and so forth. They broke out. I'm not a huge fan of Nirvana at all, but that doesn't take away the fact that I'm cognizant of the fact that Cobain started a movement there, the grunge. So these people at the forefront of these movements are extraordinary, and often they are involved in cliques involved with this occultism. That is not to say that they cannot be a clique that is completely devoid of that. One that I'm part of, the Boston Comedians. I'm at the tail end of the movement was destroyed. I'm at the next, one of the next tiers that it rose again and then fell again. There's no occultism involved in that. There's Bill Hicks in the Austin, Texas comedy movement was extraordinary. He's almost at a level of that, of like an occultist. The Bill Hicks was like Burroughs, completely paranoid, willing to question the evil and insanity of no weapons of mass destruction and invading the bullshit of the Iraq War. Like it or not, no artist worth their salt. It does not confront the system. I'm not content with just that somebody felt that they needed to hide the fact that they were alcoholic or homosexual or involved in some kind of oppression. That's not the whole story. That's their identity, and God bless them for the sufferings they have. It is nothing compared to having to confront the whole system entirely that we all confront, trying to stick up for in a realistic way, not some kind of front. Thomas Pynchon said it. If they get you to not ask the right questions, they've got something on you. Wait, damn it. Thomas Pynchon. Why can't I remember his quote? But I don't even know if they like each other, but they were the kind of people that examine deeply paranoia, dreams, lack of reality. Now let me finally get to the main point. If they can get you asking the wrong questions, they don't have to worry about answers. So, okay, Pynchon was an expert in Kabbalah and history and espionage in World War II, as pretty much probably Burroughs is as well. But here's where we get to this, as we finish up our documentary, here's where we get to the Salvador Dali part. That's in the final phase of what Burroughs was reading about. He was an expert at smashing reality, making you dream, getting you high, the ultimate DMT trip, beyond LSD, beyond the Timothy Leary reality of it, or lack of it, that he could make you dream. So Cronenberg is attracted to him, and Led Zeppelin needs him. Blade Runner and the comic books, the heavy metal and all that, they feed upon the lack of reality that men like Burroughs create, which is why I love him, why I need him. Forget what I said about Ginsberg. I can't understand him. I can't understand Kerouac. Not every artist can understand every artist. Hope you like this sloppy documentary. I'm not going to be editing it. I wouldn't anyway. And maybe Mr. Burroughs, wherever he is in heaven, would support me on that. God bless you guys. Enjoy the works of William S. Burroughs. It's going to be a long time before we get people as good as him again. Take care.